A hardcore gamer always knows best and is rarely swayed by larger-than-life commercials and trailers that are far from the truth. The same thing, however, can be said about the casual gamer, a much larger demographic that often becomes victim to false advertising. Sometimes a game publisher tries so hard that they end up with a stupid, bad, bizarre, or even a controversial ad. And today we're going to talk about those, about controversial gaming ads that got themselves banned. After the release of the greatly received Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, gamers were desperate for more of the modern reimagining of the series, and the record sales figures were a proof of that. But when it comes to Activision, more is never enough, so I assume with some of the marketing for Modern Warfare 2, they were aiming at a younger demographic. In a certain banned ad for the upcoming game, we got no gameplay whatsoever, but something else entirely. The controversial ad called Everybody's Doing It featured over a minute-long monologue of your typical grandpa talking about how, you guessed it, everybody's doing it in some way.
Sometimes my dog likes to watch me do it.
Oh, and in case you haven't noticed, it's not about sex, but about Modern Warfare 2.
No way.
If the commercial was a few seconds short, it would have been much better. Sure, the humor is quite juvenile, but a more minimalistic approach would have played out much better in this scenario. In the end, the commercial drags on, and you keep waiting for the punchline, but the joke is just not worth it. Kudos to Activision though. I don't think I have ever seen a publisher compare their games to sexual intercourse. Okay, so what can a desperate publisher do when sex and violence fail? Well, the answer is more sex and violence, I guess. No matter if you're advertising a shooter or even a rhythm game or an annual sports title. Back when Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock was released, the series was doing very well. Everybody seemed to partake in the overnight sensation that was the first Guitar Hero. For many, it became the go-to party title, and those who weren't becoming fake rock stars in the living room have at least heard about the game. However, when Rock Band was released, which also featured the drums and a microphone, Activision's marketing had to step it up. And so, when the fourth Guitar Hero, titled World Tour, was released, ads had a much bigger budget. Apart from videos that showcased that Activision finally had gameplay options for a drummer and a vocalist, there were also ads intended to help brand awareness. Close to the release, World Tour got the ad with Heidi Klum, then a famous German model. In the ad, Miss Klum was messing around in the living room playing Guitar Hero like nobody was watching. The choice of music and the way the scene was filmed was an obvious reference to Risky Business, a 1983 movie with Tom Cruise. And while I have to admit the model looks great, she seems to be playing something entirely different than Guitar Hero. Nevertheless, the ad was too much for the American audience, and a different version was quickly filmed. In the alternative cut, Miss Klum was wearing a baggy white shirt, which sure made the ad appropriate for the PG audience, but was a complete waste, considering that the supermodel in ads don't come cheap. When promoting Top Spin 4, a game about tennis, 2K wanted to have the same vibe, and so they hired Serena Williams, one of the best tennis players in the world. And in case you're wondering how can you sell a game about something so seemingly boring as tennis, take a look, you might be surprised. Hiring a professional sports person to promote the game depicting a certain sport is a great idea, both in theory and in practice. However, you need to keep an ad like that in good taste, and in the case of Top Spin 4, someone seemed to forget about that. A tennis player bending over and playing with a PS Move controller is still okay, I think, but all those sounds like from a porn movie completely ruined the ad, and rightfully got it banned. And while I'm no expert when it comes to sport, a commercial like that is not only sexist and objectifying to women, it also ridicules tennis fans, suggesting that they only watch this sport to hear women moan and make suggestive sounds. Okay, enough with the sex and the violence, let's take a look at a different form of advertising. Posters. It seems as if a poster can never reach the same heights of controversy as a trailer that looks like a porn movie. Well, think again. It might seem that a poster can be as offensive as a porn-like TV ad. Well, think again. EA learned that firsthand when promoting a certain game that you would assume could not offend anyone. That game was Burnout Dominator, which was promoted with posters on subway stations in London. It seems that an ad saying, inner peace through outer violence isn't that bad. To be honest, I find it quite interesting, as a session of Burnout can be very good in helping you relax after an hour of being stuck in traffic on your way home from work. The poster featuring a wrecked car got a different response, however. More than 30 people found the ad to be offensive as it, quote-unquote, promoted reckless driving. Complaints were made to ASA, aka the Advertising Standards Authority, and EA quickly pulled down the harmless poster. The world of PEGI, SRB, and gaming censorship can be quite ruthless to games, but there's one place in the world where they hate gamers the most, and that might surprise you. It's Australia. I'm talking here about the country where a game about graffiti, Getting Up, was banned, because no wonder, we all know that fans of street art are even worse than rapists and drug dealers. When it comes to banned ads, a certain zombie game became very controversial. And that game is Dead Island Riptide and its trailer. In the case of the next slasher from Techland, the makers of the ad seem to aim for a similar tone the trailer for the first game had. Remember the one trailer that had nothing to do with the game? Yeah, and the one with the little girl and dramatic music. The ad for Riptide featured a couple overwhelmed by the undead horde who, forced against the wall, committed suicide by blowing themselves up. Some Australians thought that the ad glorified suicides and approached the sensitive topic from a bad angle. Don't get me wrong, as depression and suicide are no laughing matter, but those people were clearly hypersensitive and knew nothing about the zombie genre. You know, when you look at Romero's movies and stories like The Walking Dead, you perceive suicides differently, as zombie stories are set in a depressing world where trying to survive might not be the easiest thing. Banning the ad was not enough, however, as some people seemed to be offended even by the game's logo that featured a hangman. In the end, there were two versions of the game's logo, one with the hangman and the other, much less offensive, that pictured a corpse. Okay guys, to end on a high note, I want to show you one of my favorite and incidentally most absurd gaming trailers ever. Before we begin, the game is Resident Evil 4 and the trailer was made in France.
Plus aimé. Cet endroit n'existera plus jamais. Resident Evil 4.
I get that the jumpscare is supposed to scare you and gameplay that is shown later is supposed to let the average Joe know that the game is scary as hell, but come on, what the heck does breastfeeding have to do with Leon Kennedy fighting for survival in a zombie-infested Spanish village? Pregnancy is stressful enough without showing the zombie mom to other soon-to-be parents. Is the ad supposed to show you that all moms become at some point zombies that resemble the witch from Left 4 Dead 2? I don't know. The ad was banned soon, and no wonder, and Capcom turned to other types of marketing with the next Resident Evil. When Resident Evil 5 was being put on store shelves on March 12 of 2009 at London's Trafalgar Square, several fake severed limbs and body parts were hidden for a scavenger hunt for which a trip to Africa was the main prize. Fun fact, after the original promotion event ended, Capcom reported that several body parts were missing and no one knows where to even look for them. I just hope that they brought more joy to their new owners than the overhyped mediocre crap that was Resident Evil 5. The worst thing about bad game ads is that they were seen not only by gamers but also non-gamers, thus creating a bad image for our industry and gaming as a whole. So to be quite honest, I'm quite happy that we're seeing less and less such ads every year, because it seems as if marketing has evolved. If you have missed some stupid banned ads that you like, let us know in the comment section below, and as always, keep it here at GamePressure.com. I'm Jordan, thanks for watching.